then how do you like I don't know for way up till now like how you integrate your tests then.
So what you're able to do is a function called, I think it's export, collection v2.1, and this essentially creates a file. I'll add it, and what I've done in the past is here. Okay. So let me show you what that file looks like. It's essentially going to look somewhat similar to a Jupyter Notebook file. And I'll explain why I think there's a little bit of parallel there. These files are a little bit hard to store in source code because of that, right? So this is essentially that file. And so this is the testing thing that I was working on. This was the name. There should be some things related to, yeah, so there's the URL. It has the query parameters. These are the query parameters here. Talks about the port. All of these variables are essentially associated with it. And then there would be a list of headers and whatnot. So I think I've actually reached out to the Postman team multiple times. I think they've made a small mistake in how they've developed their app. And what I essentially think is that they should be a tool that imports a repository and then saves files into that repository. And then if you have a command line tool that essentially executes those files, you can essentially get these files to run as a testing suite. So I can actually, if I download, there's a tool that's associated with actually executing these files as in the CLI. And then what you can do is then import those, right? So I could actually add this to my Postman, and then that's how I can use that. And so what would happen then is you'd be essentially pinning a version of the Postman to your repository and using it as a testing suite to verify that your repository is working correctly. And that way, if someone else is working in this repository, they can pull that code in and then work against that Postman collection, which we know is accurate because it passed the tests, because it has to do that in order to be in the environment or to be in the repository. That isn't currently what Postman does. Postman's the smallest unit isn't a repository, it's a collection. And I actually don't think that's the right call. I think what you should be doing when you open up Postman is you should essentially be opening up a repository and working within a repository is how I would ideally be working in this environment. And then one of the other things that I think you mentioned about staging, one of the things that I do is having environment variables. And so what we have here is we have localhost 3000, but I could actually make this a variable, right? So I could call this my backend URL. And then if I want to, so I call it forerunner URL. And now I can hit it against, I can send it, and this is actually going to work out fine. The tests fail, but I still get my response. And this is a variable being passed in. Let's say I want to change this to staging. I essentially can have another environment that is my staging environment. And at that point, I can literally hop between a local environment and a staging environment and execute my Postman queries to see if they work both locally and against staging.
Cool.
Yeah, so I think ultimately there's like a lot of promise in this tool. I don't like a few of their decisions, and one of them is the collections one. But I think if they do kind of adopt a repository-based structure, I think what I'd want to do is then integrate it directly with my repository, and then like opening up VS Code, you'd open up Postman in the same way, and you get the exact same repository. And be able to run it in the exact same way.
What's the tool, the other tool which you use for integrating it with your repository? You mentioned something.
Let me variables environments. Postman command line tool. It's called Newman. And I'm posting. Let me just share the screen on it. So essentially, Newman is a testing framework, and they've integrated with it. It's a Node one, but essentially what you do is actually I could do this in this repository. Let me see if this works out. So let me change windows to, no, where's my GitHub? Oh, there it is. So I'm going to install this tool Newman that they use. And then I'm going to run that collection that I just exported. And ideally what's going to happen is one of the tests is going to fail and one of them is going to succeed, just like it failed in the environment. And then since it's an NPM package, all I would need to do is be in as long as I had Node on the server, I'd be able to work with it. Awesome. npx Newman, run, and then I had the coding guild collection, right? So these are those two tests that I just ran. And so if you integrate it with a continuous integration tool, then your Postman tests are always going to be accurate, and they're always going to be in the repository. The reason why I think they should integrate more with repositories is because the pain to import and export these tools all the time, and all you really want to do is open up a repo in Postman and then work against it.
That's we lose a lot of time.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll try this one out. Thanks, man.
Of course, of course. Okay. Are there any other questions?
Hey, Matt, good question. Like, what do you have in your screen now? Is terminal?
Yeah. So.
What is that?
Are you asking like about it being like pretty printed?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a testing environment. It's actually have like very pretty printing. So this is going to be an output of Newman. I think I'm just working here. Jest is another testing environment, and generally,
cool. That's very cool.
They're all like integrated to be pretty and whatnot, and they'll like format the output, right? So this is Jest running in terminal, and basically has very pretty printing.
Well, that's super cool.
Yeah. I would not ever recommend spending the time to make your output in the code base this pretty, but using a tool that already does it is.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
A good idea. And a lot of loggers can actually do somewhat similar things as long as you just format the correct.
Oh, I'm gonna bother you tonight.
Please do.
Well, that's awesome.
Okay. Are there any other thoughts? Okay, I'll just touch on some of the announcements that I had earlier. And it's
Is someone talking? I can't hear anything anymore. Yeah, he'll be coming back.
all right. Sorry. Thank you, Edwin. That keeps happening. So I just wanted to go through the announcements from earlier again. And so one of them is that I was put in touch with someone that works at a law school, and what she does is she's created an online course for students to become advocates in immigration court. And one of the things that the federal government allows is anyone to be an advocate in immigration court. That's simply because there's not enough lawyers there. And so one of the things that I'm looking to pursue over the next, or one of the things that we've talked about was the opportunity to collaborate on a certain things, namely that we're looking at things in two similar ways. One is that there's like a community aspect to learning, being able to foster that, and two, that there's this kind of structured flow from beginner courses to more advanced courses. And so I think that's something that's somewhat interesting. It's not going to be a focus because obviously my focus is going to be around technology, but it's definitely something that I thought was an interesting parallel. And I definitely also want to introduce the idea in case anyone was inspired to kind of pursue that. So that's one. Two is that we're essentially coming to the point where we're starting to get more and more comfortable with a lot of the things that we've developed, namely a lot of the regular schedule. We've gotten comfortable with the emails. We've gotten comfortable with kind of the structure of the Discord channel in and of itself. We've introduced the YouTube Live thing. And so one of the big pushes that we're going to be making now is to get more and more people into this channel. And so Tom and I kind of made an ambitious guess or an ambitious goal of trying to get 40 people into one of these meetups in about a month. And that's definitely on the ambitious end, but I think at this point we're very comfortable with a lot of the tools that we've been able to build out. So we're definitely looking forward to essentially doing like a big push, starting with next week and then moving forward. Speaking of that, like one of the other things that we're looking to do is expand what we're doing week to week. So a lot of our bread and butter has been lectures, and the simple reason for that is lectures are, in my mind, an easy way to get people to participate and also to provide a lot of value. We've also, last week, we introduced the idea of discussions. I think discussions are definitely something that we're looking to double down on, simply because discussions have a lot of people coming into them. They tend to be a lot more informal, and they actually tend to be a lot more fun, is the feedback that I've gotten. So that's definitely something we're looking to double down on. And then the one we've been talking about most recently is kind of doing interviews. And that's essentially kind of putting one person on the spot. You answer a bunch of questions. We'll come up with a lot of questions beforehand, some generic ones on like describe your career and whatnot. But hopefully we can kind of go into the nitty gritty of some things and hopefully people can provide a lot of insight into what has actually helped them the most get to where they are now. And the combination of those three things, I think, is going to help fill out a lot of our week to weeks. And so hopefully if we make this big push over the next month in the way that things happen, then eventually what we can do is start doing this multiple times a week and start catering to multiple crowds. And so that's either going to be catered across skill level, or it's going to be catered across like the format, or it's going to be catered to role, right? So we might do something that's back-end engineers, front-end engineers, but it's likely to be the format is the thing that's differentiating thing. And so the end goal of this is ultimately to be a place that provides a lot of content and a very easy way for people to kind of opt into the content that they want to participate in. So if you're a junior developer, you can very easily listen to the junior developer things. If you're a front-end developer, you don't have to listen to the things you're not interested in. If you're coming here just as a place of community, then it should be very easy to just participate in the discussions and the interviews and not have to listen to the lectures. And so that's kind of an update on where we are and where our next push is going to be in the next month. So any thoughts, questions, or concerns there?
Come on, people.
I have a question related to content. Do we want to maintain a log for the content? We maintain a review or something like that, or like for instance, like Edwin has done like discussion around few LeetCode problem, right? So how do we maintain log around that?
Yeah, so what we have is we have a YouTube channel where we're actually live streaming this. And so if I can send out the link to it, I can send out the link to the live stream right now. And you're going to be able to refer back to this. At the moment, it's just a 2-hour lecture on the whole thing. But eventually what we're going to be looking to do is cutting these up into individual kind of lectures and then hopefully promoting you guys individually as YouTube things, right? Like hopefully Edwin becomes this rockstar LeetCode guy where everyone's following his LeetCode examples and tuning into that. So that's something that I think is like a huge possibility and very exciting for us. The other thing is we also have the proposals. So if you actually add lessons if you check out the README within lessons, it describes what the essential structures that we've kind of put up. And there's essentially 2 forms you can fill out. And so if you have something that's a little bit more specific that you want to propose, that's essentially where we would ideally have you guys proposing this. And then within the proposals bot channel, that's essentially where all of those things get posted, right? So if you look there now, you'll see my actual proposal. And there isn't currently a link to the place we're presenting it at. Ultimately, it's going to be kind of a data problem. We're going to figure out how to address that. But yeah, so the big one is that within this lessons folder on Discord, there's channels dedicated to these things. And then outside of that, we have the YouTube channel where I think it's a great place for people to, you can essentially just re-listen to these things.
Cool.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I mentioned that I really do want to double down on is if these things kind of take off, it's definitely a place that I want to support you guys and kind of help promote you guys in your careers. I do think having online content for employers to look through is a great thing. And so if you guys ever have lectures and you want to share them with an employer, that's definitely encouraged, but also it's something that I'm going to be looking to do is promoting your content in the communities around us so that you can kind of build your own reputation as this coding guild is kind of taking off.
Sounds great.
Awesome. And we also created a way to post requests. So that's something that we were asked about last week. And so that's something that we looked to addressing. We addressed the actual request, which was for someone who knows C++. But then there's also the actual place that you can post requests, and I'll be following along those tightly and hopefully being able to kind of deliver on that. And part of it is I reach out to people regularly and ask them to kind of present content. Hopefully the content that gets presented on is the things that people request. So that's about it for the Coding Guild. I think now's a fun time to kind of catch up and chat about other things if anyone has any other topics they want to talk. I'm half anticipating Lee's going to come talk about EverQuest in 30 seconds. But if anyone wants to jump on him and talk about something else.
Come on, Lee, I'm waiting.
What? I don't have anything to say about EverQuest. Why would I need to bring that up right now?
I was just teasing. I feel like a few of the times afterwards we ended up discussing more EverQuest, and then you
No, because everyone left in the call were people that knew about that project. But here I only see like less than a third of the people on the call are interested in that project.
Well, I mean, I think it's a great project, and I think it's definitely a fun one. So if anyone...
I like that Mo finally showed up. Mo, what are you working on? You never come. Okay, I called her out. My bad.
Mo.
Okay, someone else needs to talk. I might have called Mo out, and she might have been in the middle of something else.
No, I think Mo having a settings problem. I bet she having a settings problem. Mo.
Ari, what are you up to these days? You're another like friendly face that I'm sure a lot of people in this room are interested in. I fail.
No, I just had to figure out how to get off mute. No, Lee, what I've done, well, just last week, now it's 2 weeks. I really got to get a move on it. I signed up for 2 Udemy courses, and one's web development, the other's data science. So I'm trying to skill a little bit and join you guys so I can understand what the heck's going on here.
Wow, super cool.
That's awesome, yeah.
And perhaps some, I just need to, I started the web development one. I'm only like maybe, I don't know, early, like 3 hours into it. So it's 30 or 35 hours of work content. I've got a long ways to go.
Why are you starting your technology foray with web development? Isn't that like a little bit hard and painful of a way to be introduced into technology?
No idea. I think I was just diving in blind and seeing what happened.
Start out with something like, I hope I'm not trying to be a zealot, but like Python is a really easy first language to learn, and doesn't require you to learn so much, like so many different language specific things and like syntax and stuff. If it's not too late to pivot, I would strongly suggest starting with Python.
I'll take that advice. It's definitely not too late to pivot. I mean, I'm at the very beginning here.
I also suggest starting with Python because there aren't like too many fundamentals over there. So it's a good language, I think, start with, and will like hold on to that language. Like if you know Python, like feel like in today's world, if you know it very well, then you don't have to know like any other language. You could like work on it for next 20 years. That's what I feel like.
But
you when you place it and everything.
I don't even know if Ari is planning on becoming like, full down heads down developer, but also it's a good way to learn all the subjects about like technology before like diving into like another, what at this point I would consider like most other languages I would think of as like a specific other language, versus Python would just be like a good first overview.
Yeah, the overall goal isn't to be a developer. It's more of just to have like an overview. I want to kind of scratch the surface to a lot of these languages. As I'm doing that, I want to see kind of what vibe well with and see where I can find correlations between my work right now and maybe some of the possibilities that I just know exist right now because you just don't know what you don't know. So, I was just explore, do something new, pick up a new hobby, and it's time. So that's kind of what inspired the course.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Aris, you should definitely invest on those like simulators for motorsport. Those are awesome. Have you tried those?
The real things, real ones, the cars are actually buying too much of the budget right now. So I just too many cars.
No, the simulator.
No, I can't afford a simulator because I have too many cars.
Oh, okay.
That's good. Someone needs to support the automobile industry.
I'm definitely supporting it.
Edwin, why are you so quiet?
What do you want me to say?
I don't know. Be creative.
No, I'm just working on my ray tracing.
Oh, actually, I thought you were I thought you were going to touch on that subject. Please.
No, I don't have anything formal yet. I mean, I just got some images.
Have you presented on your desktop build yet?
Oh no, so my keyboard just arrived this evening, so I'll be building it tonight. But my USB died out, so I ordered some USBs. So I have to wait for the USBs to come in.
Have USB? What?
Yeah, my I don't have USB, so I need a USB.
You don't have like 2 or 3 or 4 lying around?
No, they're all in the office or at my parents' place, not in my apartment.
What do you need, Edwin? I probably have like an extra here. I can give it to you.
Well, no, I already ordered it. So
Oh.
it's gonna be a few days, but thanks. Yeah, no, I didn't even have Wi-Fi. My apartment has like no equipment in it.
So how the heck you like? How do you go online then?
Well, no, I mean I added it in. The pandemic hit and everybody had to work from home, but yeah, I didn't have a lot of tech stuff lying around before last month.
You didn't even have Wi-Fi, if that's correct, right?
Yeah, I didn't even have Wi-Fi.
Does anybody have any suggestions for a second monitor that is USB monitor I could just plug right into a MacBook?
What do you mean, Aris?
Like a second monitor so that as I'm watching these videos, and I'm trying to learn and like kind of put along, I can have like, I don't know, something like a USB monitor that I can have a second monitor. If there's one that you guys recommend or use.
So there's 2 main options there. I think from my point of view, a lot of times when people are getting monitors, like you sort of just look on for a deal, because there's not really an importance of like tech hardware like with a computer. But the other option, like if you're mentioning you have to communicate with your Mac, I know a lot of my coworkers, instead of routing cables between their laptop and their like monitors, they have a dongle. It's like a little tiny USB stick that you plug into your laptop, and then your laptop will broadcast a USB signal that your like monitors can pick up with another dongle, and then you have like wireless monitors, so you don't have to deal with
Oh,
cables.
that's awesome, Lee.
Oh,
Is there
yeah.
not an input lag there?
What's that?
Is there not an input lag? My like big concern over anything wireless is like it's never going to be as quick as Wi-Fi things.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Bluetooth is pretty fast. My coworkers are starting to use it for video chatting, and we're all doing all of our communication over video chatting. And I've never noticed a problem. I feel like if there was a lag, they wouldn't be using it. I don't know. I haven't tried it myself. I've just talked with them, and they've had it on.
Haley, can you put that on the chat, please?
Oh shoot. I can try to look for it. I would need to like find an old chat thread where my coworker linked it out. So give me a bit.
No. I mean, if it's well, yeah.
I think there are multiple companies that sell these things now, though. I think
What's
they
the name?
become very popular with like quarantine life. But yeah, I don't really.
But what's
I
the
don't
name
have
of the
a specific
device?
I recommend.
I'm going to go for something like, I'm going to look for like a portable monitor because I'm moving around a lot. So something I can like stand up in a coffee shop whenever we do return to that life.
You're gonna carry your laptop and a monitor to a coffee shop? Nice.
Maybe not a coffee shop. Man, I was just thinking that through. I'm like, that's ambitious, and that looks ridiculous. I'm gonna be that person.
Yeah, that would be impressive. Like, everyone would notice you. You'll stand out.
Whatever. It's called peacocking, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I know some people have this like clip to their Mac. They use their iPad. So
Yeah, I've seen those. Those are interesting too.
yeah, could be an option.
So I don't know if this is in good taste or bad taste, but I often recommend looking at dying startups as a great place for good technology, and oftentimes they'll add a broadcast on like Facebook Marketplace or any of these marketplaces, and getting one of these secondhand is you'll often save a lot of money, and it'll be just as good.
Good point. I didn't even think of it. I should check out Facebook more. Okay, guys. Thanks for the suggestions there.
No problem.
Hey Harmon, are you still online?
Yep. So I've been playing around with Kubernetes, and there was a tool that I was looking into. It was for like templating. Started with a K as well. Customize. Have you heard of it?
Customized?
Yeah, customize with a K.
No, I haven't heard of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is it for creating your templates, files?
Yeah, essentially the big thing I'm trying to do is dynamically pass in the image ID so that it's not latest. It's whatever the tag is for the build itself. And I feel like a template is the best way to do that. So I've been looking into them, and I found this thing. I think it's part of Kubernetes itself, but I've never heard of it. So
I think you can like find like you could just pass it as a variable, right? Your template, whatever Kubernetes template you have, YAML file, you can like just add it as a variable, and once you build like you're creating a new image after the you run your build, you would create a new image, you just pass that image tag to that variable.
and then when you like do kubectl apply -f, and then the file name, it's gonna how do you get the variable, or how do you get the value into it? Do you know?
So you pass it like or in your YAML file, it's just like
Template variable, like with the curly brackets or whatever.
yes. Pass into that variable whatever your image tag is, new tag.
Would you have to like build it? Do you have like what is the Python templating service? Jinja? Would you have to use something like that, or can you just do it with a YAML file and then with like a bash command or something?
I usually do it with a bash command. Have it, store it as variable, and whenever the build completes, the image is done. It just stores it as that as a like a environment variable, and then just adds that variable into that YAML plate.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Because like every time like it's gonna be like every time you create the new image, it's gonna be like a new environment which you're creating. Like I haven't used any like other tool. I'm also not sure like what the overhead is gonna be like. What other integrations might have to pull in. So
Yeah. I mean, my big thing is that I never want to have to add a new technology unless I need to.
Yeah,
I think like the customized thing, I think you can call it with instead of -f, you call it -k. I think that works from what I'm reading.
Yeah, let's do it. Can we get a tutorial on Kubernetes? It's not something I
Next week.
Yeah.
We're gonna have next week, guys.
Kubernetes, like the prerequisite, I would say, if you guys know Docker, it would be pretty good. But it's basically like an orchestration tool for like managing all your Docker containers. It's because like, have you guys worked with Docker?
I like. Well, okay, so Lee and I tried learning Docker several months ago.
What are you using Docker for? We learned Docker. What are you talking about?
Yes,
Exactly.
okay, yeah. We finished the tutorial, and I did it for like a few side projects like a year ago. But it's something that we're trying to push at work. But definitely, I think having definitely having an expert like you on lecture on it next week, I think I'll definitely tune in.
Like I have to like set up some like basic tutorial for that. Let me see if I can set it up.
No pressure.
Yeah, no, I think we first need to like learn like Docker completely, and then we can like go to Kubernetes. Kubernetes is basically like let's say like if you're running something locally, Docker is fine. But what if like running 10 different applications on 10 different Docker containers, and you have no idea how to manage all those different containers together. You want all those different containers to talk to each other. For instance, one container is running your front end, one is running your back end, one is running your database, one is running your caching layer, so on and so forth. How do you make all of these talk to each other? That's where Kubernetes comes in. It's like an orchestration tool, manages all the overlay network, can define all your like different endpoints, your ports, and stuff like that. So yeah. So like first we need to understand about like Docker, how we can run those applications locally, how we can create like network and all of those things, and from there we move to Kubernetes.
Yeah, that would be very cool. Harmon is like a DevOps whiz, so if we got the chance to have him lecture on any of these tools, I think we'd be very grateful. I think Tom is also talking to someone who has a DevOps experience as well, so there's definitely some possibility to have people present on these things. So,
cool. Yeah, like any question you guys have about like DevOps related stuff out, or like any questions about like different new tools, CI/CD, Docker, Kubernetes, any of those things you want, if you want me to share or like get you in something, like I'm always there. You guys have brought up about Docker, Kubernetes. I'll try to come up with something. But try to have a like simple course or something, and then can see what from there.
No, that would be fantastic.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'll set up something like basic, and then you can like move towards more advanced.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
Great.
And we have Mo, who's our resident.
can we stop calling out Mo and let her just listen in?
Mo, where are you?
Mo? I bet she's having some technical issues. Oh, she left!
Probably gonna rejoin it in a second, yeah.
Hey, can you hear me?
Nah!
Hello?
Yeah, Mo, come on. You have like at least 10 questions on your queue.
Oh. Did Edwin call me a DBA? I hate you. Guys, I stayed up until like 5 a.m. like 2 days ago loading in data like tables by hand. It was so horrible. I hate my life.
That's awesome.
No, Tom, it really is not.
Yeah,
That's Tom to help out. I'm sure.
Awesome at all. Is that why Edwin called you a DBA?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, she is a DBA, and I want her to present on DBA stuff.
Today, someone was like, "Why can't I see the tables?" And they were looking at the wrong schema. I was like, "Oh my God, how do you have a PhD?"
they have a PhD, so they don't have to, figure out on their own how to see the tables.
Okay. And how long does it take to restart like a database on AWS? They try to restart my database, and it's been starting for like 10 minutes now.
It should be quick. Like, which database is it, and which engine version are they using?
It's just an RDS.
MySQL, Postgres, Aurora.
I don't know. Aurora. It says Aurora. Guys, please. There's like 10,000 databases.
Okay. It's usually pretty quick. Less like much storage does it has, because the more the storage, longer time it takes to reboot it, or maybe if they are like rebuilding it or refreshing it or copying it over or something.
No, it's very small. It has like 2 rows into the tables.
Oh. Okay.
Oh, also, did you know you can't use data migration services to like shift stuff from Redshift to Redshift? Isn't that idiotic?
Migrate stuff from Redshift?
Yeah, from one Redshift instance to another.
Can't you like just clone it and everything?
What?
Like you just want to move everything from one cluster to another, right?
Yeah, I did it manually. That's what I was doing at like 5 a.m.
Can't you,
Wait, we're gonna hear what the way that you should have done it is.
Sorry. This sounds very interesting.
Wait, tell us how we're supposed to do it.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Well, no one knows how we're supposed to do it. They were like, use data migration services, but you can't even do it. You can't do like from Redshift to Redshift. You have to use like Postgres thing. So it's like, why don't you try Glue? And I'm like, I already did it by hand.
can't you like just create a snapshot of the Redshift cluster and then do it?
I don't think I have permission to do that. I mean, it's too late now.
Okay, yeah. Because I think there is a way that you can just create a snapshot of the whole Redshift cluster, bring up the new cluster with that snapshot, and it automatically like do a new cluster with the same thing. And then in the new cluster, if you want to like make some changes, you could just do that.
Yeah, it was
But
just.
I don't think you wanted. I thought you want. I think you want to put in an existing.
Go ahead.
Right.
What?
You want to put in an existing instance, right? Not make a new cluster, right? You don't want to clone it, right?
No, we were using a staging area. I could have just like done some Python thing to like generate all those like copy statements, but then like some of the tables were weird, so I had to go one by one.
So you could like just have created a whole dump file for your Redshift cluster and then imported the dump file into a new Redshift cluster. That's another way to migrate everything.
Like dump to
Yeah.
S3 and pull it out.
Like it just basically creates a dump file of any cluster, and then you could just import it into any new cluster.
Yeah, but like the creation statements that I got were like all fucked up. They were like 1,000 tables in there, but we only had like 300, and they had like weird columns that we didn't have. So I had to like go through it manually and figure it out. It's like so annoying. And like random rows had like line breaks. And it was like, I can't read that. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? Just like ignore it, you know?
You did like table by table.
Yeah, so like some of the rows just had a line break, and then Redshift was like, what is this? And I'm like, I don't know yet. So you can pass like max error to the copy command, and they'll just like skip over those rows. That's all. It's very annoying. I don't know which tables had them.
manually, like I hate those manual things.
I know, I'm so mad. I was like, guys, my database still hasn't started up.
What hasn't started yet?
Database.
My database.
And you got any error message?
It just says starting.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
I think I just need to let it start.
Did you pay the bill?
I don't know. Maybe they didn't pay the bill. Everyone else working on. Besides
just
Edwin and
just
Yun.
great.
Yeah, a bunch of men want to yell over at each other to tell Mo how to do her work.
Does anyone want to do it for me?
Does Discord support like mouse sharing where you give someone else control of your computer? I don't think they do.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's not. I'm almost certain that's not the case.
No, that's spyware. That's
Yeah. Oh, there is a thing for VS Code though, where you can all work on the same coding environment.
Yeah, peer programming.
Yeah, so we've done it at my company. We call it mob programming when you get a bunch of people into it. And so what I'll do is I'll try to set that up one of these times. I'll come with like a challenge, and we can like mob hack a problem away.
That would be super cool.
Lee, what is happening with your EverQuest thing?
Oh yeah, so I bridged the Python macro quest to Yep. So now I can deliver, information from C++ to Python, and I can also send commands from Python to C++. So we're well on our way to building an RL environment. Yeah, I don't know, like that. Now, like the whole community, like the community that built this, whole scripting language and built all this C++ stuff. I think a lot of people know that we're working on this project. So people have even asked to join on the project, and they're all self-organizing and solving different tasks to get it to work with different plugins. And then of course I'm also in parallel just trying to learn what type of interface do I need by letting 50 characters run around the world under my basic rule-based AI scripting, which is fun. Right now I actually just watch them almost completely wipe out and then turtle and save themselves over the last 10 minutes. Because they're smart like that.
Yulin is here. Hey Yulin, say something.
UA, you mean UA? Or UA? UA.
Oh, it's Yue. I'm sorry. I thought it was Yulin.
Yeah, Lin is my last name.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mo, you're not the only girl here anymore. Woo!
Woohoo!
Now you can talk over her instead.
Oh.
We're sorry, Mo.
No, they're just jokes. I like it.
UA, how many characters are you boxing in EverQuest now?
12.
Next.
That was last one now. Last group that I made, right? 6 groups, 6 ones.
Don't have me, tell them.
Yeah. That's. I made 2 groups of 12 people there.
UA is the only person scripting in game with me for now.
I think that would be for the foreseeable future.
No, I mean, Evan's playing World of Warcraft manually. I feel like, anything is better than just manually playing one of these games. Maybe I'll win him over. Anyway,
He just to go to code.
he doesn't want to.
That's fair.
Okay, I'm gonna hop off. See you guys.
All right.
Later.
Because EverQuest is calling.
I'm also gonna hop up, guys.
Later, Harmon.
See you next week. Bye.
Later, guys.
See you.
All right. Bye.
Later, Andy.
Bye, guys.
See you all.
Bye, Tom.
Thanks.
Bye, Edwin.
Bye.
Later.